Here's a list of my top 5 easiest seeds you can direct sow and be successful. And on a day like today, the forecast was right. It got cold and we got snow. So what do you do in the garden? Well, we're not going to plant, but we're going to talk about planting. Sun coming out, hitting the ground, a lot of this snow's melted off. Makes me want to plant. It's just a little too chilly out here. But we can prepare for spring. Now there's a lot of things you can direct sow and be successful. But here are the 5 easiest things to grow. Why I've chosen these is they're very easy to direct sow and you're going to be successful. And most of these you can eat the entire plant. First on the list is radishes, and if you've never grown anything, it's a good one to start with. They germinate very, very quickly, within 4 to 7 days. The radishes are doing really well. They bulb up and you can harvest within 30 days. Oh, those are beautiful. Thing about radishes, you can eat the leaves, you can eat the bulbs, you can eat the seeds. You actually get more food if you let them go to seed and you collect the seeds as they mature. And they're really nice if you want to add a little spice to any kind of cooking you're doing. Radishes you can eat raw, you can also bake them. Radishes will grow very well in a container on a windowsill. You can even plant them in a cardboard box. In the spring, you'll see we'll have radishes coming up all over the garden. We like to let some of them go to seed, and that way you always have some volunteers. The next one on the list is lettuce, and they grow very, very easy. Your leaf lettuces are cut and come again. You could go ahead and eat those their entire life cycle. One thing about your lettuce is if you have your romaine or your icebergs, they have to build a head. They take longer to mature. So you just pull the mulch back, and we're gonna make a row here. Since I'm pretty happy about how fluffy this is underneath the mulch, I am just gonna do Roost Stout, which is you just sprinkle the seeds on the surface, but then you just pat the seeds down a little bit, that way they have good contact with the soil, and then put just a light, very light little bit of mulch back over it. Got a nice little salad mix. Don't want to put too many seeds down, but you can be a little liberal. You see, we're just going to scatter them over the surface. There's lots of little nooks and crannies. And then we're just going to lightly pat the surface so we got good soil contact. And if you let your lettuce go to seed in the garden, you're going to have volunteers all over the place. It's a nice little addition to a chaos type garden. Now, third on my list, I bet you can guess, that would be beets. Has anybody ever said you can't have enough beets? Beets are a superfood. Beets are a wonderful addition to your garden. You can eat 20% of the leaves and not affect the bulbing at all. We're gonna go a little more traditional. I'm gonna do 3 rows. These are beets. These are from seeds we saved. I'm gonna plant them kind of heavy. Then just like Roost Stout, just pat them down a little bit. Good soil contact. These are good and damp. We're good to go. Take a little bit of your mulch. And those are a couple of the ways that I plant in the deep mulch. And that's another one that germinates and comes up in about 7 to 14 days. It's about 60 to 80 days before you're gonna have a decent sized beet. You can let them grow a little longer. Now each one of the beet seeds have multiple seeds in them. I like to plant them a little heavy. They push each other out of the way and they grow just fine, but we thin them out as they go because we like to eat the whole beet. Beets do very well in containers and raised beds. On the windowsill, you're not going to get quite as many as you would with the lettuces or the radishes. The next one on my list is carrots. Now, to germinate carrots, you have to make sure that those seeds stay moist. You're just in time. We're going to plant carrots. I'm going to show you everything you need to know to be successful growing carrots. Now, what's the cardboard for? Well, you lay out your cardboard, and that tells you how long your row can be. How's that, you say? Well, I'm going to show you the easiest way to plant carrots. I heard a feller say, "You mean I could have been doing this for the last 40 years? There ain't no way. This is the easiest way to plant carrots. You're going to be amazed." Since we're growing in the deep mulch, first thing you have to do is clear your mulch back down to soil. These are some carrot seeds I saved from a couple years ago, and here's the trick. Well, this is gonna have a little trash in it, but it still has good seeds. There, I sprinkled it on, patted it in, good soil contact. This soil is good and loose, and those ought to go down pretty far. The trick with your carrots is they have to stay damp until they've germinated. So what we just planted, if you can call that planting, we just threw those on top and patted them down. I'm gonna go ahead and put in some half longs. I'm gonna do the same thing though. I'm still gonna plant these very heavy. We can always thin them out, but here's something I know. Critters are around, and I'm gonna share some of these, whether I want to or not. And like I said, the most important thing with carrots is they need to stay moist until they germinate. So even though this soil is good and moist, we're gonna go ahead and give them a nice little drink. Then, I'm gonna set the cardboard down on them. Look at that, that's perfect length. I'm gonna wet the cardboard a little bit. That's another one that grows very well in containers and raised beds. The looser the soil is, the better off you're gonna be. It's been just 15 days. The radishes are doing really well. The lettuce around the edge. Somebody snuck in some carrot seeds. Now, everything I've listed so far, you can eat the greens, you can eat the roots, you can eat the whole plant. The next two on my list, beans and peas. Peas, you're gonna have to have a trellis. Some of the beans, you're gonna have to have a trellis. They produce a lot of food. They come up pretty quick, 7 to 14 days, but it takes a little longer for them to mature. The plant has to grow a little ways. Bush beans, you don't need a trellis for. They grow as a bush on the ground, obviously. I mean, look at these. I mean, look at that. But they do produce a lot of food. All of these are very easy to start. The first 4 on the list you can actually get going well before your last frost. And the peas don't mind the cool weather either, but the beans you want to wait till it gets just a little warmer. Well, you know what goes good with beans? Beets. Those are beautiful. See if we can't grab a carrot or two. There you go. Carrots and beets. That's what goes good with beans. To plant in a deep mulch garden, you just pull that mulch back down to bare soil, add your seeds, pat them in, make sure you have good soil contact, give them a good drink of water, make sure they stay good and moist until they germinate. It's really just that easy. Give this handful of seeds a try, and you'll be successful in your garden. And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, stay warm, God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.